he's got some cotton socks here and some cotton things to sleep in. If he stores things correctly and keeps it dry, he'll be fine to climb into that in the sleeping bag as a layer there. But you can't. You got to have something else there. There are thrift stores and so forth that have lots of snow gear available, that type of thing. You can.
The answer to that is if you get the nylon like sweatpants, they're thin, they're nylon, and they're very water resistant. Even though they don't say waterproof, you can hold them under a faucet and the water will let off. You can put those over jeans or sweatpants or so forth, and those you can get for like $10. But make sure they're the nylon slick, you know, they look like a windproof type of thing. So those are really good over whatever the kid has.
Noted that.
The important factor is, like you said earlier, make sure your entire outer shell is waterproof. I was just about to say, there's those jogging pants. You can get the jogging jackets. I've seen them at Target for 10 to 15 bucks. As long as you've got a waterproof exterior, you can put the kid in sweatpants, jeans, you know, just keep layering him up. And then as he gets hotter, take the waterproof layer off, take off a layer, and then put the waterproof layer back on, because as long as your outside is waterproof, you can fall, roll around in the snow, and everything inside will stay dry.
Thank you.
Yes.
What if we don't have scout pants?
What if we don't have scout pants? Okay, sorry. Generally, his no was actually really helpful. I've never actually heard of that technique, but it sounds like it works. I'd have to use it from experience first, but usually if you go asking around your troop, they'll have some for you, hopefully. They'll probably have some people with hand-me-downs. These don't wear out really well, so even if I outgrow them, they're still going to be laying around the house somewhere.
Windbreaker nylon stuff, like you said, you get at a thrift store.
Yeah.
It's really good for the outside layer. If it says windproof, it's pretty much waterproof. If you get a snowball or whatever, fall in the snow, it's going to shed.
Thank you.
Yeah, your scout pants are not cotton. That's one of the best pair of pants that you can get. Jeans and stuff like that will absorb water. Your scout pants will not absorb the water that you get. You can go down to Goodwill and you can get suit pants or whatever that are wool. Wool over the outside. Wool, when it gets wet, will still keep you warm. And so, if you can't repel the water, just make it reasonably comfortable. And you have like long johns, your scout pants, and wool pants over the top of that, which you can get dirt cheap ones from Goodwill. Chances are about 99% that you'll still be warm enough if you can't get a water repellent outside. And the best thing is try to concentrate on your feet, but those cotton socks, sweat, that's still water. Water freezes. And wool socks is the most important thing that you can wear in your boots. And I've had it where my feet were just soaked, steamy, and I was still warm because I was wearing wool socks. And if you're going to make any major expense, buy the best pair of wool socks that you can buy.
And we're going to have, Scott's going to talk a little bit about hands, feet, and some of the gear here in just a minute on that too.
I was going to say, over the years, we found that like to get those inexpensive nylon pants, go to like campmore.com. They have stuff like that on sale, and they send you like a little newspaper print mailer every month of stuff they have. But like sometimes it's marked down as cheap as $6 for a pair of nylon pants, and you can get wool socks there. Often they're just cut rate. It might be an overstock or a discontinued product, and they can't always put the brand name on their online site. But when you get it, you go, oh, well, look, that's not bad. So you can get some very good discounts there. And they come within a couple of days. So, you know, now's the time to start looking at campmore.com, C-A-M-P, which is not to say Herb Bauer. You can walk right in and get it. M-O-R. Camp Moore. Yeah, M-O-R, Camp Moore. It's all one word. And they've been the cheapest I've found. And real reliable stuff. And they carry a lot of brand names.
The big stores now have all their sweat stuff
on sale.
And the sweatsuit on top of anything will do really good. nylon cheap sweats.
What about
So-
like the waterproof spray over a nylon type of thing?
Haven't had any experience with it over nylon. That helps. It helps to repel the water.
I can actually talk a little bit about that. We did have that situation in my troop where we had someone go out and get the waterproofing spray because they didn't want to go out and spend the $80 for those snow bibs. So the mom went out, got the cheap nylon, got the jogging pants, and got a can of that, and she sprayed it top to bottom, head to toe, all around. That thing was waterproof like nobody's business. There's only one problem with that technique. If you read the can, it says let air for 72 hours to set and dry. She did this Friday morning. Unfortunately, the fumes were just radiating in this giant ball, and it really wasn't a good situation for her. We actually had to, some of the other scouts in the troop had a spare pair that was his size, so we basically left those in the car at the parking lot. And no one wanted to drive home in that car after that. It works, but you have to be careful and do it far enough in advance.
What I want to do is get through two more quick presentations, then we'll take a break, and then we'll kind of do a little bit more of a roundtable kind of tips and tricks because we've got some great dialogue going about where to find resources. The other real important part, Wayne, you want to come up, about keeping warm is making sure that you're fed properly. And the trick to that, Scouts, is going to be making sure that you have a good meal plan. Now, the agenda normally is that you'll come up on Friday after school, come up on Friday night. So you might be hitting the trail at about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock at night, right? And then you're going to hike in, and then you're going to be hungry, and so you're going to need to get your patrol fed. Well, there's the key to this is making sure that you have a good plan and that you've got a meal that you can kind of get through pretty quickly and get some good food in your scouts. So Wayne Eckel from Troop 223, I think he put his pots in here. Would the pots end up?
I didn't really take note.
I think it was at the bottom.
Let's get in there. I think they got
There you go.
Oh, there it is.
So Wayne's going to talk about how to put together a meal for Klondike.
Okay, good morning. One of the most important things about Klondike is getting a good meal with lots of protein, calories, and having it be just a good meal and have it taste kind of good. A trade-off is if you get dehydrated food, they don't always taste that good, and they normally have, if you get good ones, they have quite a bit of calories in them, and that's good. But again, they just don't taste that good. But if you get like for example, like a pasta with meat sauce or chicken Alfredo, which I have, which is quite good. It has chicken, it has protein in it, and this is fairly easy to make. This one we actually made from scratch, the Alfredo sauce, and it took us about 2 hours from start to finish. But you can buy cans just already done, so you can just either bring the can up there or just pour it in a bag like this and then just pour that into the pasta. The only thing you have to do is just cook the pasta. But one thing that's about this that's really good is it's in one pot. Because up at Klondike, you're not going to really want to do dishes, and once these bags are just throw away, or you can save them if you want to, but this one might be a little gross. Another good thing about this is it's pretty cheap because this is about a ½ pound of pasta. This will feed about 4 to 5 guys. And the original recipe that I had that required 1 pound of pasta can feed 8 guys. So, some about the red sauce. The red sauce is pretty similar. You just would have to cook the meat. You just have to cook the meat and season it to your likings. And You can get a recipe online, or if you just know one, or ask your mom or dad or grandma or something. You can find a pretty good one, and normally it doesn't cost that much because, again, the prep time of it's going to be maybe about an hour. I know I'd much rather spend an hour pre-cooking it at home than cooking it when you're actually up there at Klondike, because you're going to have a small little camping backpacking stove, which this is the juke one that we have, and it's actually quite small. So, and this is the fuel tank that we have, and it's not compared to the ones that sometimes you use, the big propane tanks. This has enough fuel and enough heat into it to completely cook or thaw out a pot about this size of the chicken Alfredo or the meat red sauce. And for the meals of breakfast, I would not recommend Pop-Tarts. They're easy, but they taste good, but they're loaded with sugar, and the scallops will feel really good for maybe about 5 minutes, but then they're just going to crash and burn. So what I would recommend is something like oatmeal. It's very easy to make. You just boil water, and then you just pour in the oats, or you can get the instant oatmeal packs, which they don't cost very much. And another good thing is food bars, like those food bars. The type that I personally like, it's made by Cliff, and they're actually called Mojo bars. They're about that big, and they have nuts, raisins. It's basically trail mix in a bar. And I would recommend those or any other type of food bar because they're good, they'll last you, and cheese is very good as well, but the problem is if you let it stay out in the cold, which wouldn't be very, very smart, when you wake up in the morning, you're going to have an actual frozen block of cheese, and that's a problem because you can't eat it. And one very important thing that you should remember is water. You need to stay hydrated, because if you don't, it's just going to become a problem. And let's see what else. From preheating it should not take that long. It should take about maybe 5 minutes, kind of depending on the amount that you have. And what you also could do if you have a very large patrol of 8 or 9, this little pot probably wouldn't be able to hold it. So what you could do is you can go to the dollar store and just get a fairly decent sized pot. And one thing that I found out that works is if you put your sleeping bag kind of in the pot on when you're backpacking up there, so it kind of holds it. It's a very easy way of bringing the pot up there. And what works very well is if you distribute the weight of the food, the pots, the fuel, the burner, so not one person is bringing it. And that's kind of the same thing with the troop and other gear that Joe discussed. And so once that's done, it should go fairly well. And kind of eating little snacks throughout the day till you kind of get to lunch, which is the big Klondike meal that they put on. It normally consists of hot dogs
and warming apples, yeah.
Yeah, that. Kind of till you get to there, but it's very important to stay hydrated and just kind of eat little bits here and there, because if you get hungry and it's not going to be fun anymore. We just need to remember just to stay hydrated and just eat little bits of food every once in a while. And that's my presentation. Is there any other questions about